So, one of my mentorship students, Amanda, signed a client recently that ended up paying her 200,000 US dollars in one single month. Now, this client is paying for social media management, which typically is a service that we sell on a retainer, maybe charging 500 a month, maybe $1,000 a month. On the higher end, maybe $2,000 to $3,000 per month. So the question is, and this is why you're here, how did Amanda get a client to pay her 200 grand for that exact same service? Well, I recently interviewed Amanda. She's been in my program for over 3 years, and we've done an interview pretty much every year since she has joined. First at 5K a month, then at 20,000 a month. And this year, so far, she's made over 500K. And so in this segment, you're going to learn how she finds these clients that are up for and are suitable for these commission only deals, because not every single client that you come across should you pitch to them a commission only deal. There's only certain clients with very specific criteria that are even qualified to do this. Because if you pitch a commission only deal to any business owner that has a business of any size making any amount of money, you might end up working for free, making absolutely no commission back. This is a rarity. I rarely see anything like this. Most people are working purely just on monthly retainers with their clients for social media management. But Amanda has struck gold with this one client. So I want to jump back into this commission deal that you had, because as you said, Amanda, like, you're a big fan of them. I've actually never done a commission deal when it comes to social media ever. It's always been just, flat pay structure, and that's been it. I'd love to know, what's your criteria for knowing if a client is ready for a commission deal, or if you should just go with your standard certain amount per month set retainer.
Great question. So we only do commission-based payment structures with companies that can prove that they are doing a certain amount of money per month consistently. So whatever our monthly retainer would normally be, like, let's just say it's 3,000 a month. We would make sure that that company is doing at least 30,000 a month in online sales before we would sign any paperwork.
Okay.
So yeah, we do make them verify that. Like, we do make them give us access to their Shopify or whatever payment processor they're using. And then, yeah, that's basically the only criteria though.
Okay, cool. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense, right? Because obviously we're not going to offer commission for the brand new company that's at zero if they've, no proof. Makes sense. And when you're, let's say, having a conversation with a client, Amanda, are you bringing that up early in kind of like the discovery? So say if you have your first meeting with them, is that something you're talking through then? Or is it more have a call, see if they're a good fit with other criteria you look at, and then you might have a second call to go deeper into logging in, verifying, and really seeing if they're a good fit?
Yeah, so we actually send out a pre-call questionnaire. So that's like one of the questions that they have to answer. And then if it's not the answer that I want to hear, then I don't get on the phone with them. But typically I tried to ask that in advance. There was times where we didn't have the pre-call questionnaire, and that was something I had to bring up like in the first call, just one-on-one with them. But now we pretty much know everything before we get on the phone with anyone.
Nice. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. And obviously, most people listening, if they've started an agency already, they're probably doing that, but maybe not to the same extent. They might have, Calendly or a basic calendar with a couple of questions, but you've probably got a more detailed one, right? As to monthly revenue and a few other questions as well.
Yeah, for different industries, we have different questionnaires because some of the questions don't apply to certain people. But I liked Calendly. When we did use Calendly, I just like the option to give them mandatory questions so that when you go into it, you know sort of what you're dealing with.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense because it adds a bit of friction, right? Some people are going to start filling that X off the page and never book, but that's obviously not the type of person that's probably going to become your client anyway. So, yeah, makes sense. One question that I imagine a lot of people are going to be thinking, Amanda, is like, how do you first find these big clients? That's the big question, right? Because as you said, that commission deal really only makes sense if they're doing a certain amount. So is this clients that are coming to you, like kind of inbound, or are you going out and finding these?
They're all inbound. So basically, all of our bigger corporate clients or bigger e-commerce clients have been referrals or reached out to me directly based on knowing that I've worked with certain other companies that are, within their industry or in like the same niche as them.
Cool. Nice. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Makes sense. And I know even in our last interview, we did touch on that. Like for you, those bigger clients, typically it is referral, it's inbound, it's personal. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's quite the norm in the industry.
Yeah, what I will say about that is you can definitely reach out to bigger companies. Like when I, was first starting, I was reaching out to like the directors of marketing or like anyone who I thought could have been the decision maker, like on LinkedIn.
Mhm.
And you can definitely do that, but there's a very low percentage of you getting an answer, unfortunately, because everybody else is also thinking the same thing. And that's the thing with cold outreach to these bigger companies. When you pitch yourself, it's like either you have to have a really good pitch and a really good portfolio and just lay it all out on the table
Mhm.
in the first message, or you work your way up and eventually get the referrals.
Yeah, makes a ton of sense because like even people we've had, let's say in the last 2, 3 months that are beginners joining, and if they're doing cold outreach, yeah, like it's not two massive companies. It's still a very small, brand new company, and it works
Mhm.
for that because they're obviously not getting hit up as much. But that company that's been around for 20 years and they've been in the space successfully, like doing well, yeah, they're going to be
Mhm.
inundated. Like they've probably got an email specifically just for pitches they've received in the last year.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
use AI to like filter out certain words and certain messages. So
Hmm.
sometimes your emails don't even reach the inbox anymore,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Literally. Literally. Another question I'll have for you, Amanda, on that, let's say that big month, right? That 200K months, which came from the 2 million that you guys attributed from social media for that brand. Would you say, if you were to compare that to your typical like social media management client, was the workload massively different? Or was it that you did the same work roughly, but you just went viral more and had more success with the videos you were putting out there?
So there's definitely a trade-off when this is a good question. So there's definitely a trade-off when you do land a bigger client. There's a lot more pressure on you and it's a lot higher stakes.
Mm-hmm.
So although we didn't have a set amount of posts that we had to deliver, like we didn't have certain deliverables per
Mm-hmm.
month, they were just kind of like letting us do whatever we wanted because they were trusting us that
Yeah.
we've done it before, obviously. And the one thing about that is that it's significantly more work
Mm-hmm.
because the harder you work getting their content out and on their strategy, like the more money you make, obviously. So we were doing 20 posts a day per platform
Wow.
for this one client. And
Wow.
that was taking some of our account managers literally 8 hours a day to do just this one client.
Mm.
So there is a trade off and it's definitely more work, but it's worth it for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you see the payoff pretty quick with that client? Like say in the first couple of weeks or?
Yeah, like so in the beginning, we were doing probably like 25K in commission a month.
Mhm. Cool.
Um, so they were sitting around like $250,000 a month just from our posting for them.
Mhm.
And then I realized like, hey, if we ramp this up by like times five, this is going to go up times five.
Mhm.
So I got everybody on a meeting, like all my account managers, all of our designers, all of our content editors. And I just made sure with them first, like, hey, is this even possible? Like, is this even
Mhm.
like feasible? If we were to do this, like, is this going to like burn everybody out? And they were like all totally on board. So, luckily I have a good A team, but I definitely had to check with everyone first before I pulled the trigger
Definitely.
on. Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely. Did you have to like reduce the workload for other clients that they were working on or?
Yeah, we had to shift around like a lot of clients. Like we had to take certain people off of other
Mhm.
projects and give them other people, then hire some other people. So it was a lot of shuffling around and a lot of like
Yeah.
logistical things to figure out.
Yeah.
But it was, yeah, the,
Obviously worth
the grind is
it.
worth the payoff.
Pay it off big time. Yeah, that's so good. So good. So 20 posts a day on each platform. Wow, that's heavy going. But obviously to do numbers like that, you're gonna have to do some things that are pretty insane. That's just the reality. What would
Yeah.
you say, looking back from say that big months, like what were the biggest either angles that you used in the content or like I guess just takeaways, because when you're doing that kind of volume, it's inevitable that you are going to have things that work, right? Because you're doing 20 a day, like that's 600 a month per platform. Like, it's
Yeah.
pretty impossible to post 600 times and not get at least something to hit, to click, to resonate. So I'd love to know. Yeah, I'm sure you guys have done probably like a big old breakdown on that, but just some rough insights, because people starting off in this game, that's the thing they struggle with almost the most, is the confidence of, how will I ever know what will actually work? Right now I have two clients. I'm kind of just posting here and there. I have a rough strategy, but I want to know from the bigger players, like what's actually working.
Controversy works. Like being controversial is very much tied to success on social media, unfortunately. I will say with this client, like with every client that we talk to initially, like I have a very questionable leadership style and a very questionable like process of my social media strategy creation. So I make sure that everyone knows like, hey, I'm actually a little bit insane, but this is why X, Y, and Z works so good because I'm like cracked in the head. Um, so we definitely did a lot of things that were controversial. We had a lot of hooks that were like purposely rage baiting
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm,
like definitely inciting some like emotional responses. But if you're scrolling through your For You page and you don't have a response immediately to a piece of content, you're probably going to scroll away. The only time people actually stay and you retain viewers and you retain followers and engagement and even conversions is when you're getting to the root of emotions or thoughts or even like just relatability.
mm-hmm. Yeah, no, makes so much sense, because I know, Amanda, I think the first video you ever saw from me was a video that was controversial. It was a
Yeah,
video of me going like, "Hey, how is this legal?" And it was me explaining, outsourcing to lower cost countries. Some people love it, some people hate it, and
yeah.
like, that was years ago, right? But that's just the reality of, like, I've seen it myself for sure. Controversy definitely is the key to get that mass spread engagement or that virality. Now, if you want to watch the full interview with Amanda, it's about 40 minutes. You can find it on my YouTube channel, where we talk about a lot more. We don't just talk about this one client. We talk about how she runs her entire business, how she has automated most of it, and how she's made over 500K this year so far. Now, I know Amanda would not mind me saying this, because she has credited a lot of her success to my program and the help we've been able to give her. So if you're in the market for getting help and understanding more about social media marketing, having somebody like me guide you through the process, hold your hand, and support you not only to get your first client, but to get you up to 5,000 or 10,000 per month, watch the videos on my channel, or click the link in the description of this video. There will be info on how you can work directly with me. So if you're in the market for that, you can check that out. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.